Hello friends, I am Dr. Abhilash Naik from India. In this small video, I am going to talk about my reflections on the live class by Dr. Cheryl Lentz on the live lesson. What if we could think like Einstein, the wrist method? For this presentation, I have given the title like this, the wrist method, an innovative method for critical thinking. I have already told you about the title. The title was What if you could think like Einstein, learn the wrist method. In the agenda for the presentation, she introduced the topic to the participants. Then she talked about her book, the website she is owning, the part of the YouTube channel that she owns. Then she talked about the wrist method in detail. And finally, she gave a lot of space to the participants to ask questions. In the introduction part, she told about herself. She is a former USAF spouse. She has the teaching experience of more than 14 years as a college professor. She has published 19 times and she is a 12-time award-winning author. She has got one Academy Conference Award by IBM and on the faculty for 5 different universities, and she is also a business owner. Dr. Cheryl Lentz is very much famous for proven strategies to shorten learning curve, to attend to think beyond limits when facing problems in personal and professional settings. She has invited people to join her website, to visit her website and know more about that. In the first part of her presentation, she talked about the wrist method, because this wrist method, as you can see here, it consists of 5 letters. This is an acronym, 5 letters of the initial letters of 5 words. Words, rules, imagination, space, tools. So these are all the things that she talked about during the presentation. She is a highly qualified and experienced person. So in this small presentation of 1 hour, she talked about how we can change the way we think by changing many things which are under our jurisdiction. As we can see here, the word wrist stands for these things, to change our thinking. Simply we must remember that help is at the end of our wrist. That means if we have a problem, the solution is also in our hands. So what we need to do that? She explained that in a very nice way. She did that in steps. The first step, as you can see here, it was changing our words. Second, changing the rules. Third, changing the imagination and play. Fourth, changing our space. And fifth was changing our tools. So she emphasized that in order to be a good thinker, in order to think critically, in order to have a different perspective, first of all, instead of thinking in our own language, such as English, we should think about thinking in a different language. It could be Spanish, it could be Chinese, it could be French, any other language. Because if we think in a different language, we will be exposed to different patterns, different meanings, different ways of thinking. And she gave the example of Einstein to reinstate what she said here. Einstein spoke several languages. Sometimes he also thought in a different language just to change his focus. Not only that, we have also experienced, one could very much agree with whatever she said here. If we continuously use the same words and phrases time and again, we lose our creativity and we get stuck in the old patterns. That's what she talked about. So, in order to change our way of thinking, the first requirement is to change the words, the language that we use in our everyday life. The second thing that she talked about was the second step, that was changing our rules. Changing our rules is not changing the rules of our personal life, but changing the rules of an organization where we work for. If a person continues to work for an organization for a long period, the person tends to be bogged down by the rules which the organization prescribes. Because if somebody does a thing continuously, repeatedly, without applying any critical thinking and follows the rules blindly, there would be no new insights. So she emphasized that there should be change of rules, restrictions and boundaries. Only then creative thinking would be possible. The next step in her method, the RIST method, was change your imagination and play. If we are able to change the way we imagine and change the way we play, then we will be able to change our perspective and think differently. Because only then we will be able to be creative. In order to convince the participants about this point, she asked from the participants what made them happy or what made them silly. She encouraged them to play with puzzles, jigsaw puzzle, building a castle made of bricks, to play with bubbles. All these things, they would definitely make our presentation, they would definitely make a person think differently. So that's why she encouraged people to change the imagination, to change the way they play, so that they could think newly and differently in a critical way. The fourth one, which is the most important, that I personally liked it because I was present in this session, I personally liked this. It is changing our space. If we change the place we work, or we change the place where we live, then things will not be the same. They will be definitely different. So she encourages the participants, she encourages the students that they should change the space so that we can change to look at the problem. If we stop for a day and simply went for a walk, then we would see a new path every day. So she wanted people to change the way the things happen, things are there in the surroundings, because unless we change the place where we live, we won't be able to see any new things, so our thinking will be confined to that only. So the next one, the last step of her presentation, of the method that she talked about, was changing the tools. Because if we change the tools, then only we will be able to, we will be required to use new skills. In order to use the new skills, we will have to think critically and newly in innovative ways. Because she wanted that we should change the things that we write with. If we are typing on a computer, we should think of using a pen to write the things. If we are using a pencil, we can think of a color or any other things, so that we will be able to enjoy that activity and think critically, to do things in a different manner. She gave a lot of space for people to respond to her questions and to reflect upon them. Now let me talk what I learned from this presentation. Failures will always be there in life. Those who make the most of them become successful, and those who surrender to them are lost forever. This is a very important lesson I learned from here. We cannot solve a problem unless we change our perspective and start looking at things from different perspectives, because this is very important. If we don't look at things from a different perspective, the same problems will continue. While understanding a problem, we must not forget the grounds for our failures, as they help us understand things from a new perspective. Critical thinking is necessary to learn things from our environment in better ways and find solutions to our problems. And most important, the last one, it is important to do things differently in order to make them innovative and pragmatically useful. If we continue to do the same thing every day, then there would be no originality, there would be no creativity, and ultimately we will be stuck in the old patterns only. So I am planning to do these two things after learning from this presentation. I will make use of the wrist method to improve the situations in my personal as well as professional life. And I will surely encourage my staff, students and teacher trainees to make use of this method to make their teaching learning more meaningful and acceptable. Because this is a very wonderful method, and if we can really make use of it, we will be able to look at things from a different perspective, and we will be able to make qualitative changes in our personal and professional lives. I would like to thank Dr. Nelly, all facilitators and all my participant friends for giving me this opportunity to speak about the lesson. Thank you very much.